Hey, this is Dave at D.A. Griffin Hobby. Got a good one for you today. What do you do when your motor has lost its pickups, either shoes or rollers? This is one I recently figured out for myself, and I'm quite happy I did. So let's jump into it. First thing you gotta do, get yourself a flat blade screwdriver, preferably something with a bigger blade. Put it into one of these holes here. Kind of pry and twist, and you will see a little space open up right there. Okay, this is one of those things that would be easier if you had three hands, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So there you go. I pried and twisted slowly until that popped out, and there are usually 4 tabs, 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side of these. So then just go to the next spot, pry and twist a little. As you can see, it either wants to pop out or it doesn't. You can hold that there, maybe go with another smaller screwdriver and just kind of pry and twist. There, that's all it takes to remove the plate. Now I can either replace just the rollers, the pickups, or the entire piece. As you can see, this one's a little mangled. Probably got soaked with oil at one point. I'm not going to reinstall it on this engine, but there is another one I want to fix. If your plate is still attached to your engine, but a shoe has come out, you very well might be able to take the new shoe from underneath, line it up, and push it in, and have it snap in. So if it's just a shoe that's loose, you can try that. So here I have the new piece I'm going to use. It's the plate, the pickup shoes, and the wire to run to the E unit. The first step, I need to solder the wire in. First thing you want to do is tin the wire a little bit. It makes the soldering part easier. You just insert it into one of the holes. Making sure that the insulation goes all the way up to the contact, and then bend it over to enable you to get a good connection. Lay that down your bench and solder the wire. And if you're a better solderer than me, fantastic. Get that attached, snip off the excess. Flatten it out a bit, add a little more solder, get a good connection. So now we have the wire soldered to the pickup. Next you want to take your individual shoes and just slide them in there, play snap in place. Okay, with the wire attached and the shoes in place, we're ready to install that on the engine. Before we do, just wanted to show you something. Some of the plates are very similar. These two, for instance, most likely from very similar engines. These are shorter plates from 2 different motors, one with rollers, one with pickup shoes. While they might look like they would be interchangeable, they are not. You'll notice that the tabs are in certain different places and they are different lengths. So just because you pull one out of one motor doesn't mean it'll go into another. So just be aware of that before you proceed. So we've got the plate ready to go in, and I've got the engine I want to put it in. One other note, I learned this while wiring my house. Always make sure you have more wire than you think you need, because it's a lot easier to trim it later than it is to add more wire. Note that the plate has a wide side and a narrow side, and that the shoes are not centered in the middle of it. That is because the motor is not centered itself, the motor frame, due to the gears and the wheels. So make sure the narrow side of your plate is on the side with the gears. So take the wire, feed it up into the engine, and check the placement of your plate. Now all we have to do is snap this into the grooves and we are good to go. I start by getting one side in, lining it up, and then just kind of reverse of removing it, get the screwdriver in there and just apply enough pressure to allow you to pop the plate down. Okay, so we got those two in. We'll do this one. So remember, kind of pry and twist a little bit, and when you're installing it, press down. Now you might want to experiment with different screwdrivers, see what works for you. And try not to break the new one. I'd be careful where you pry. I wouldn't want to pry here, as the edge might break off and then your shoe will not be centered. Now, as we can see, it all went together fairly well, except for this one tab got messed up. This is one of those repairs that's really not complex or difficult, but doesn't mean it's going to go well. So that's how you install that. It's relatively straightforward, but frustrating nonetheless. One thing to note here on this one, I don't know which engine this came out of because I did remove it from something. And look how close the pickup shoe is to the screw for the rear truck, so that might actually be an issue in a short. So these are the little things you have to pay attention to while repairing your train, especially if you're swapping parts from one engine to another, because many times, even though they look like they fit, they do not. So since the pickup shoe looked very close to a bolt on the body of the engine, I decided to remove it again. And what I found is that the pickup shoe that was in it originally is a different shape than the one I was trying to put in. So it was sticking out further. So I am going to go with the smaller shoes. So once again, just because the part looks like it fits doesn't mean it does. So here we go. I got two used shoes on this. They're a little shorter. They should fit better. Now that this has already been installed and then removed, the edges are a little messed up. But seeing as this engine is for my personal collection, that doesn't really bother me. As long as I get this back together and it works, it'll be nice. After it's installed, just check to see that the pickup shoes have not come loose. See, now we have a lot more clearance there. So always check your parts. Even if it looks the same, it might be just different enough to be an issue. So there you go. That's how you replace the shoes. Went from none to two new ones. So give the repair a try if you need to, and let me know how it turns out for you. I hope this helps you in your repair efforts. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns or whatever, hit me up in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.